Hey, everybody, it's your friend James Shaw. Trust you're doing okay. We are back and better than ever, as we always are. And we're doing what we always do, which is talk to elite people who are doing elite things. And Tim Johnson's one of my favorites. Tim, you dive into everything, and you're doing some stuff that's working in a big way by sending letters about expireds, and it's bringing you listings, but it's really creative. So we're going to dive into it. But first, will you introduce yourself to everybody? Tell us who you are, where you are, and a little bit about your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Tim Johnson. I am in Western North Carolina. I live in Black Mountain, do business all over the mountains, and I've been in real estate. This coming June will be 6 years, so it's been a whirlwind of 6 years. It's been a lot of fun, and I look forward to the next six. So it's been an amazing couple of years. 2023 was awesome, and 2024 has started off with a bang. So really looking forward to what the rest of the year is going to have for me.
That's really cool. I think you did about 50 units last year, about 18
Yep,
million. Does that sound about right?
that's right.
House a week. We have so many people we interview that do a house a week. It is so the process required to get there can be tough, but once you're there, it's just repeating the right things day after day, and that's what you've done. Tell us a little bit about what your top lead sources are, because we're going to dive into one of those today.
So top lead sources, obviously the number one is my sphere and my past clients. So that's number one. Number two is really my letter campaigns, and that has brought me business that I never thought it would. I hoped it would, and it has panned out. And so it's been unbelievable. And even to start the year off this year, it's brought me some really big things.
This is great. Why letters, though? That sounds so 2000 late, like it's 2024. What's going on with the letters, Tim?
So I am one of those people. I am not afraid to call anybody. I will call and call and call if I need to. And so I wanted to try something a little bit different. Of course, me being in real estate a short time, just a few years, uh, I figured maybe somebody has done this somewhere somehow, but I started thinking about something that I could do a number of a week, 100, 200 of them, send them out and see if I could get people to call me while I was still calling other people. So yes, I could call these people, but I decided to put this letter thing together, and it has showed up in a big way for me.
Now, all right, so let's walk through your process so that people understand it. We're going to go step by step. Also, you have examples of the letters that you send that we're going to share with those of you who are members of our Inspire Collective community, like you are. And
Yes.
so, Tim, you're going to share them with everyone who's in Inspire. Those of you who are not part of Inspire, you'll get his process and figure it out. But if you want the letters, that's something we're holding for our Inspire members. But it started with, Tim, old expireds. Is that right? You wanted to
That's right.
go, okay, who are some people that have raised their hand and said we're in, but maybe they haven't been contacted a while? And then how can I stand out? So tell us a little bit about your process of figuring out who to send letters to, and then we'll go into the letters themselves.
So I had gone through one of my first bowls that I was in. Actually, it was one you taught, James. And so I spent every day, every time we had it, and it was time to call people, I started calling people. And some of the expireds I would call, hey, you're, great. I appreciate you calling me, but you're the seventh Keller Williams person I've talked to today. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm just, if it were me on the other side of the line, I would get frustrated hearing from that many people. So I was like, okay, who's out there that's not getting called, that's already raised their hand and said, I'll pay a commission, I'll list my house? Yes. So we started doing some research and started looking at 6 months ago, 12 months ago, even 2 years ago, people who had listed their homes, but that experiment to list their home went unsuccessful and it did not sell. And so those were the people that we started reaching out to with these letters.
That's great. Now, one thing, again, it's going to be market specific.
Mhm.
You're in the mountains, you're in a more rural space. There's, people got land. So you targeted people that had land that had expired. Is that right?
That's right. So we did both. We did land and single family residential.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the things that I've found myself a niche for me here in the first few years I was in real estate was land. I got a real big land deal in my first year of being in the business, and it was with just happened to be the largest landowner in the state of North Carolina, and they loved me, so they started using me more and more. Didn't use me exclusively, but they
Mhm.
started using me more and more. So that gave me the experience and the know-how to do larger pieces of land.
Yeah.
So we would send those letters to large pieces of land, and really anything within an hour and a half bubble of where we were. And at first we sent it to everybody. It was $10,000 listings that didn't sell and $10 million listings that didn't sell.
And so then did you narrow it down after that? And why did you choose to make that change?
Because $40,000 listings were awesome and I'll take them all day long. But we started going after the big things. And so in the last year and a half to 2 years, we've been going after luxury homes. We've been going after big land listings and things like that. And so we focus on those. We really, if it's under, I have some other people who I've worked with in this area that aren't on my team that also send letters. And so we've kind of come to an agreement. Hey, if you send them to the people under 500,000, we'll send them to everybody else. And so we kind of bounce those back and forth, because I've taught this to a lot of people within Inspire, but a lot of people, elsewhere in the real estate world. And so it's been successful, not only for me and my team, but
Mhm.
for everybody I've taught it to.
Well, that's great. Thank you for sharing it with us today, too. So, your first piece of advice I think you're giving to someone is select your parameters, whatever that is. You've picked a price point and a geographic area, and yet you could do whatever you wanted. So that's step one. Now, step two is send the letter. Walk us through what the letter looks like, how it's laid out, and what it says. Again, Inspire members, you're getting templates of the letters, but Tim, walk us through the format of this letter.
Yeah, absolutely. So the letter is a printed letter. We print it off on our Xerox machine, and it has my logo at the top, and the first couple lines it introduces myself, and then we have some other information, some successes that we've had in real estate, and then on going on down to what our value proposition is, and then we have at the end of the letter, reach out. We get our contact info in that. But the key for us is that we leave a big blank space at the bottom of the letter, and we handwrite a couple notes. And those handwritten notes to us are the key. And so we go back and we look at the old pictures in the listing, the information about the house, and we try to pick out two different things about the house to comment on, whether it's something that maybe we can find that could possibly pull at the heartstrings of the seller, a color of a room, the view that it has, things like that. So some of the comments would be, I can imagine drinking a cup of coffee or having a cocktail in the evening, looking out over this view that you have. And then it could be a comment on a very unique object in the house. One time we saw a piano over the oven, or excuse me, over the stove in the kitchen, and it was really unique. It was like that was the vent hood, and so we commented on that and how cool that was. Well, it turns out it was the lady's grandmother's piano that she grew up playing on, that had broken and had been in a fire, but they saved the shell of it and put it as their vent hood in their custom home that they made. They invited me over and to talk to them about listing their home, and it was a $2 million listing.
Mm. It seems like something like that, this little handwritten note at the bottom, is another key differentiator, because a lot of people are sending letters to, again, it funnels down. So here's the group of everyone who's going to call, which is not every agent, but every agent that's going to call. Then here's the group that's going to also then send the letter. And then here's Tim. Like you're the most unique in that group through the handwritten note part and being specific about the house. Is that why you think so many people call you back?
I think so. I think that there's one other handwritten thing that we do. We handwrite the envelopes, and so if I get a letter from a real estate company, and I put just my T Johnson and then my business address on the envelope, and I don't put anything else. So goal number one is for them to open the envelope. If I put Black Bear Realty in my business address, they may see it's from a realty company and say, "Oh, no, another one of these guys," and just throw it in the trash can. So number one, get them to open the envelope. Number two, get them to read the letter. And so when I open a letter, if I see it's pre-printed and there's a real estate logo, maybe somebody's gonna, do the Michael Jordan into the trash can because it's from a real estate company. But if I look at it and I see handwritten notes at the bottom, my eyes are going to travel down to the handwritten notes. And so, my goal number two is to get them to read the handwritten notes. If they read the handwritten notes, I feel 8, 9 out of 10 times, they're going to go back up to the top of the letter and they're going to read the informational part of it. And then obviously, the last goal is for them to call me, email me, reach out to me. So I really think the handwritten envelope, the handwritten notes, those are the key. That's step one. Step two, step three is for them to call you. And I've been to listing appointments with these people who I send letters to, and they have the letter on the refrigerator. They have, and they make a comment. You commented personally about our home or about our process, and that's why we've reached out to you.
That is so smart. I love how you walked us through it. Envelope handwritten, just your T Johnson with your office address at the upper left-hand corner. Inside, I was going through and I was thinking they're reading the handwritten part first.
Right.
Yeah, so they're opening that and looking right down at the bottom and seeing that, and that intrigued them. Of course, they go back up to the top and read the rest. And then they call you. You send about what, 100 of these or so every couple of weeks?
Yeah, we started off sending a lot more than that. We were trying to do 200 a week, and we were just peppering them out there like
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah.
running different lists, different places. But then, as I said, we've gotten specific over what our target audiences are,
Yeah.
and so we're sending about 100 every 2 weeks, maybe 250 to 300 a month.
A month. And how so for every 100, how many calls are you getting?
We're probably getting about 12 to 15 calls back.
We'll take it all day. We'll take that all day.
Yeah.
All right. So what mistakes have you made? It sounds like mistake number one was you were sending them to everybody always and forever. Too big of a group of people. So you narrowed it down. Are there any other mistakes you've made or things you've learned in this process?
So there has been times in the last 3 years that I've been sending these letters that I've gotten so busy and we've gotten so busy that there's been 2 to 3 month periods that we've gotten away from sending the letters. I'll never do that again because real estate ebbs and flows, right? So when we didn't have the letters, we saw a big reason why we weren't getting calls and we weren't carrying as many listings at a time 2 months after we stopped doing the letters, a month after we stopped doing the letters. So that was probably the biggest thing is it was working and we got away from it. And it's just duh, but we'll never do that again. So definitely lesson learned.
Okay, so keep running the play. We talk about that all the
Yeah,
time. Do
absolutely.
you have a follow-up system after? Are they just getting this one letter, or is there anything else that comes as part of this system?
So that was one thing we didn't have at first. We didn't have a follow-up system. We were literally just taking 100 darts, throwing them, and 4 of them would hit the bullseye. And so we wanted to make sure, and I think you and I had the conversation probably about a year and a half ago or something like that. What's your follow-up on this? And I told you, hey, it really wasn't that great. And so we've gotten the follow-up system in place to where after we send them the letter, we let it run about 2 weeks, and then we'll reach back out. We'll try to find their phone number, email. Obviously, we're going to scrub it against the database that we need to, the do not call list. That's the great thing about letters. Don't have to worry about the do not call list. But if it's a follow up, we make sure that we look into the list, make sure that they're not on that, and then we'll give them a call, give them an email. I've even looked people up on Facebook and sent them a direct message. So follow up number one is 2 weeks out. We follow it up with a call, direct message, or a text message. If we can't find that, then obviously we'll send them another letter. So that's step one of follow up. Step two is to do what we didn't do the week before. So week 3, if we called them, then we'll send them a text message. We'll follow up with a text message. And then another week later, we'll do the third thing. We'll do the Facebook message. So if it's a call and it goes unanswered, a week later we'll do the text message, and we usually do a text video just so they can see us, put a face with a name. And then week 3 would be the Facebook message, and then we'll start that all over again. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3.
It's really smart. I would assume too that I don't. You may not add everybody because you're doing 200 to 300 a month, but certainly ones that you get any sort of engagement with. Do they get added to your database and then get other things that you're doing too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We add anybody who reaches back out to the database, and then we also will add some of them that are, if there's a specific reason that we're reaching out to them, meaning we sold a house just down the street and things like that.
Hmm.
We but we keep a an Excel spreadsheet of everybody we send letters to, and we keep all of our follow up on that. And then from there, we decide who we're going to add to the database.
You told me that in the time you've been doing that, it's around $500,000 in GCI that you've earned over the years from this
That's
campaign.
correct. That's correct.
It seems like a pretty good return. What's the final piece of advice you'd want to give somebody that's thinking about this strategy?
Don't let this be something you just listen to and say, wow, that's amazing. I would love, I'm going to do that, and don't let it pass you by. It's so easy. There's a lot of real estate agents out there that don't like to talk to people on the phone. And, for one reason or another, it's just not their thing. This is for you. This is for the people who love to talk on the phone. It is proven. There's 7 or 8 other people who are, most of them are in Inspire. All of them are part of Pivot that are doing this, and it's working for them. It's given them closings they never would have had before because they chose to do it. And you know what? It's easy. You can do 10 letters a day, 50 letters a week, and I guarantee you will add a listing or two a month to your business.
It's pretty simple. Well, thanks for telling us the system. Also, thank you for sharing your letter templates with our Inspire members. Inspire members, you can find all that in the Inspire member portal. Tim, I'm proud of you, man. Good to
Thank
see you.
you.
Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. See you later.